We mentioned earlier that we do have some questions submitted by Arizonans, submitted by the public for you. We would like both of you to answer this one. Where do you stand on strengthening Social Security and Medicare for senior citizens?
Well, I'm so glad you've asked this question because this is personal for me. My grandmother, who was widowed at a young age in Tucson, raised 3 young kids on her own, and she worked at Furr's Cafeteria. When she retired years ago, Social Security and Medicare were all that she had to depend on. And so I'm committed to protecting Social Security and Medicare for current and for future generations. I oppose privatization schemes such as those that Martha has supported. Martha has repeatedly said she wants to privatize Social Security, and I oppose that. I think that's the wrong answer for our seniors. I also oppose raising the retirement age, which Martha supports. I believe after a lifetime of hard work, it is not fair to ask someone to work even more to just get the benefits that they've worked so hard for and that they earned. And finally, I believe that turning Medicare into a voucher system is risky and allows Wall Street to make decisions about what our future health care looks like. In fact, it's such a risky proposal that even the Wall Street Journal said that turning Medicare into a voucher system would end Medicare as we know it. So this is an area of great difference between Martha and I. I do not support making these cuts, but just last year, Martha voted to cut $500 billion from Medicare. My own grandma depends on Medicare and Social Security every day, and the constituents that I represent and that I will hope to represent in the United States Senate will depend on these benefits that they've earned. It's our duty to protect them for future generations.
You cannot make this up. I mean, these are just more lies. Our seniors have been working their whole lives, and they have been saving for retirement, and they've been paying into Medicare and Social Security, and they deserve to have the benefits that they had paid into. We must protect Medicare and Social Security for those that are at retirement and the next generations to come. So the only person who has voted to actually cut or supported cutting Medicare in this Senate race is Obamacare, cutting $700 billion from Medicare, robbing it for its one-size-fits-all Washington, D.C. approach. So that's the real difference here. But you know what? The Medicare Trust Fund and the Social Security Trust Fund are doing better right now because of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. More people are working, more people are paying into it, and that's going to actually sustain it. But you know, if we do nothing for the next generation, by 2026, the Medicare Trust Fund is going to dry up, and by 2034, the Social Security one. So why don't we sit down together, Kyrsten, and find some bipartisan solutions in order to protect this for the next generation, instead of using the typical fear tactics we've seen for many years against Republicans on this issue. It's a lie.
Do you want to privatize Social Security?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is a flat-out lie. Again, we've seen these attacks for many, many years. Democrats don't have anything to run on. They're basically, you know, Republicans are throwing Granny over the cliff. I mean, the voters are not going to believe this. We've got to make sure that we come up with a bipartisan way for us to strengthen it and preserve it for the next generation while protecting the seniors.
Do you want to turn Medicare into a private voucher system?
Absolutely not, Ted. What I want to do is strengthen Medicare for us, for the seniors that are there and the next generations. I totally support Medicare Advantage, which is very popular in Arizona. We've got so many seniors that want to have options for them to shop around while we preserve Medicare as we know it. I'll tell you, the only thing that's going to end Medicare as we know it is the agenda of her party. If the Democrats take over in the Senate and the House, they're going to want to push through a government-run health care, which literally will end Medicare as we know it. And some of these votes she's talking about, by the way, the Wall Street Journal in 2011, I was serving overseas at the time. I wasn't even in Congress. You can't make this stuff up.
There seems to be a disconnect here. She's saying she does not want to privatize Social Security, and she doesn't want vouchers for Medicare. You buying that?
Well, Martha said those things, and I think this is just a pattern that we've seen through this campaign, unfortunately, that Martha has changed her opinions very rapidly when she decided to run for the United States Senate, and has shown that she's willing to do and say anything to get elected. I would just encourage voters to take a look at what she has said. She has offered many times that she supports privatizing Social Security, has said that she wants to raise the retirement age, and has said that she wants to turn Medicare into a voucher system. And then if you actually take a look at the actual votes, she did vote to cut $500 billion from Medicare just last year. So take a look at the vote records.